Good Friday evening, everyone. David Paul here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for the tropical update. Make sure you get a tropical update at least once tomorrow and once on Sunday. There is a spot in the Gulf up to a 30% chance for development. I don't think it's going to impact we here in Houston, Galveston, or really impact much of the Gulf other than being a rainmaker. But you never know with these things. I'll show you all the modeling as we move along. And it's not out of the question. We've gotten into the time, really, flat as far as statistical development until about July 10th. And then we begin to see the statistical rise in storm activity. So we're getting into the time when we can see a little more activity is to be expected. And I guess you could call this activity, it's not a depression. It's not even, I guess you could call it a tropical disturbance right now. But what there is of this is a 30% chance for development. Now, what we have marked by the X is a mid-level low. So this is low pressure spinning counterclockwise. We're going to look at this. You'll see the clockwise rotation. It's at about 15 to 17,000 feet. Why is that important? Because tropical systems are surface-based systems. We would need to see that counterclockwise rotation get organized at the surface to become more concerned about development. Now, sometimes mid-level circulations can work their way down to the surface. I think this won't be able to do it before it gets ripped apart, but let's go through the moving parts. So again, 30% chance for that to develop. Before we go too much further, I do want to just real quickly touch this spot out here. And actually, they've updated it. They've taken it off the board. So that's a white X. So it's less than 10%. They don't expect this is going to develop. I had this on the back burner. I think we can just take that one off the burner completely now and focus on what is trying to get going here in the Gulf. 30% chance for development. And just looking at this, you can see we've got a counterclockwise circulation here. The key is that that circulation is well above the surface, 10, 15, 17,000 feet. There is no surface circulation. It's just at the mid-level. So it's a mid-level low. Now, mid-level lows produce thunderstorms. And you see the heat over the peninsula of Florida interacting with the upper level flow of that upper level low, and it's producing rain and thunder. We had an upper level low in West Texas that got parked out there. That's what caused the flooding out there. This is an upper level low that's parked here, mid-level low. So sometimes these mid-level lows can work their way down to the surface, and I liken it to this. I'm going to try to draw this. So here's your morning cup of coffee. If you take your straw and you take the straw and just dip it, just touch the surface, just tiny bit down. Let me redraw this. Here's your cup of coffee. There's the mug. Here's the surface of the cup of coffee, surface of the liquid. You take your straw and you just touch the top, and with that you begin to do a circulation. What will happen is you'll get a circulation, you get it rotating at the very top of the cup, you get a rotation, but nothing will be rotating down here at the bottom of the mug. That's the ocean surface. But if you keep stirring it long enough, you keep going, eventually that circulation will work its way down to the bottom of the cup or the surface of the ocean. That's what can happen with these mid-level lows if they sit long enough and remain undisturbed over warm waters during hurricane season. Will that be able to work its way down? We don't think so. Modeling doesn't think so. So this was great. We were looking at all the different products we have here in the office today, and just looking at the dust product, I've got the winds at 15,000 feet. And lo and behold, there's our upper level low or mid-level low. It's at 15,000 feet. Top of the atmosphere is like 35,000 feet, 40,000 feet. So 15,000 feet, about halfway up, mid-level low. And there is the counterclockwise circulation right there. And what you see over Houston is the winds moving the opposite direction. That is a mid-level high pressure area. That's the heat dome. That's why we're heating up and drying out here in Houston. But here's our upper level low, spinning counterclockwise. So let's this is the great tool to kind of look at how this is going to evolve. This is now, Friday evening. and we go through to Saturday, Sunday. Now by Sunday, you still see our upper level low, but it's becoming elongated. See how it's stretched out a little bit now? That's a sign that it's devolving, not evolving, devolving. It's not getting better organized. By Tuesday, it's kind of gone. We have this very elongated, it doesn't even really close off. It comes in here, it's kind of an open wave. So by Tuesday, it's an elongated trough or an open wave. And then Wednesday, the whole thing just vanishes. In fact, it's absorbed into this overall strengthening dome of high pressure. That will be the heat dome. So what we see in the evolution of that, as far as the modeling is concerned, is we've got a well-formed mid-level low. It caused rain and thunder over Florida and the Northeast Gulf today, but over time that low looks to fall apart. And that means we're probably not going to see development out of that. Just rain and thunder for a big chunk of the southeast United States. And then that high pressure dome, that's high pressure at the mid and upper levels, that's the heat dome. It's going to park over Texas, and that's going to send Texas high temperatures in Houston, high temps into the upper 90s to near 100 next week. So more traditional modeling here is Sunday. It's the upper level is still there on Sunday, giving us this rain, but no surface low development. We go into Monday, still a blob of rain here. New Orleans, Pensacola, Florida Panhandle and Peninsula, Tampa, especially Big Bend of Florida getting wet, but it doesn't look like anything significant tropical-wise forming here. Houston is dry. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, forget it. The whole thing just, as we saw, it elongates and then goes away. And in the upper levels, we end up with this high pressure area here, which is going to bake Texas and Houston. And as we always do, we're going to look at the GFS and the euro. Again, 1010 millibars is our threshold to see an isobar. We're looking at 1010 and lower. So we're only looking for low pressure areas of any significance. We filtered out the weak ones that we don't want to see. There's a hurricane in the Pacific. Here's one trying to build and it's on its heels. Mid-latitude, low pressure areas. Sometimes they'll zip across the North Atlantic toward Great Britain. Saturday, we go into the weekend. We don't see anything forming in this area that we would be concerned with. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, absolutely nothing. We've got this hurricane over here. That'll be the second one. We go into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the way into next Monday, the 27th. We've got another hurricane here. We have nothing in the Atlantic basin that would impact Texas or really anywhere. What you see here is low pressure involved with a frontal boundary that's going to push all the way off into the east, off the east coast. And quite often these fronts can be focusing areas to try to get tropical systems going sometimes, so we'll keep an eye on that. But overall, it's still going forward all the way into the July 27th. The modeling is showing no development. We'll continue to take it one day at a time. Do get an update both days of the weekend in case the spot in the Gulf decides to overachieve. Sometimes the atmosphere overachieves beyond what the modeling is suggesting. Get an update and otherwise have a great weekend. If you're in Houston or anywhere hot, drink water, take breaks, prehydrate and rehydrate, cool off in the AC, lower your body's core temperature. Next live broadcast, KHOU 11 News at 10. We will see you then.